Primetime local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Hello and welcome to Primetime Local News. I'm Lane Hoffert. With the fall season approaching, corn mazes are coming back again for the year. I give us more on the Sunderland Corn Maze just north of Paradise Valley. The Sunderland Corn Maze is located 45 kilometers southwest of Lloydminster and is ran by Alon Sunderland and her husband Caleb. They started the maze as a way to give the Lloyd area something fun to do for free.
Well, a few years ago, we decided to put our corn out here. We graze our cattle on it, and my husband thought it would be fun to make a maze for our community to enjoy, and it kind of has grown since then, and we love having an opportunity to bless families with something that's free and fun, and they can just stop and go. And
when the maze started, the Sunderlands expected small crowds of locals to come and check it out. The corn maze instead became a popular place for people from all over the region to enjoy.
Well, the first year we intended it for our community, and my husband made a little game in the dead end so people have a little bit of a challenge. And then we decided to do a harvest night, and so we had fire pits set up, we had fireworks. My husband's uncle does fireworks. We had free ice cream. And what we thought might be like 100 people ended up being like 1,000 people.
Every year, the Sunderlands make changes to their corn maze as a way to make sure that maze-goers of all different skills will have something to enjoy. Along with those changes, people going through the maze can also enter to win a prize.
It's about 5 acres. The last couple years we've done 2 mazes. So the first part of the maze is a little more simple. It has the dead ends with the clues that you can play the game. We have a prize that we do every year. This year it's a 40-inch TV. So we're paperless this year. So if you scan the QR code, there's a Google form. You can fill it out with the answer for the riddle, and you're entered to win.
If you and your family are looking for something both free and fun to do, why not check out the Sunderland Corn Maze? Lane Hoffert, Primetime Local News. This weekend is going to see highs up to 33 degrees, which is above average for this time of year. Abby St. John spoke with meteorologist Peter Quinlan to get more information on what we can expect this fall.
Well, this weekend is going to be extremely hot. We are going to get into the 30s, and we are already in September as well. So it's very, very warm, and I'm happy to be joined here today by global meteorologist Peter Quinlan to kind of get an idea of why it's so hot and what to expect for this winter. So thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Abby.
Of course. Now, like I said, this weekend we're here in Lloydminster, especially, we are going to get up into the 30s, and we're starting in September. So it's kind of not common to see those 30-degree temperatures in September. So can we kind of talk about how or why it's still that hot, and kind of what this summer was like that makes it that hot?
Yeah, so we've had these ridges of high pressure that have been building in a little bit more regularly throughout the summer. So that basically brings in hot air from the southern U.S. and it causes this bulge of heat to move further north. And that's what we've been kind of seeing quite a bit actually over the summer. It was the 17th warmest summer on record for Lloydminster. Temperatures about a degree or so warmer than normal. And yeah, it was also quite dry, which is often also one of the cases with these ridges of high pressure that build in and they deflect all the weather systems up into the north and to the territories, and it was the 10th driest summer on record for Lloydminster.
Yes, and I can believe that because we had those few couple like that time period where it was extremely hot temperatures, getting way into the high 30s. So that was definitely a shock, to say the least, for this area as well. So and then having it in September, so we're a couple weeks away from the start of fall. What are we kind of looking at in those coming weeks leading into the fall season? Because we've seen that sometimes, fall and spring, we don't always experience those, those. Technically, we're in those seasons, but sometimes here we don't actually experience those kind of conditions. So leading into the next couple of weeks, getting into fall, what are we going to expect?
Yeah, it's going to be a very hot start to September, as we've been seeing, continuing into the weekend with those 30-degree highs, which might actually linger into at least Monday of next week. Then next week, we'll see a bit of a slump back into the teens, maybe even a few showers at times later in the week. It looks like we will still see the overall trend in September to be warmer than normal. Bit of a question mark in terms of October. It does look like it may end up starting out at least warmer than average. And then at some point, we are in what we call a La Nina pattern, which typically means colder than normal winters, and sometimes that begins later in the fall. So we might see a bit of a pivot point mid-fall where we start to see quite a cool down that really accelerates, and we don't really see much of that transition into the overnight lows just below freezing, daytime highs just above freezing. We just kind of stay below freezing for a while into November and December. So you should kind of almost mentally prepare for potentially a longer winter that could start a little earlier. Probably not what people want to hear, but that's kind of what the long range projections are looking like.
Yes, that's definitely not what we want to hear for sure. Especially, going into October, everybody, especially in Canada, is always disappointed when Halloween isn't always, the weather conditions aren't always held up. So saying that winter is going to start early is definitely disappointing, but
Mhm.
we had a fantastic summer. So I can take that. Now, kind of what you have basis on for predictions for winter, and you're saying it's going to be a kind of a little bit more harsher. Will we kind of see? I know last year we had, or at the beginning of this year, we had that polar vortex. Is that something that we can kind of expect this year to happen again, or do you have that information currently right now?
Yeah, we are still a number of months away, so long range forecasting is always a little bit tricky. We'll likely see the polar vortex make a few appearances on the prairies over the winter, and when we get into a La Nina pattern, it kind of basically pulls all of that Arctic air a little further south, a little bit more regularly. So the overall trend is likely that we will see some colder than normal conditions. We'll still see some warm days, but we might see that polar vortex making an outbreak a little bit more frequently than maybe even last winter. So that is kind of something we can expect and anticipate, but we won't really know it for sure until a week or two before it happens.
Hopefully it's not as harsh as we got last year, but it seems that we still have a few more weeks left of beautiful weather. So that's always nice to hold on to before, like you said, we may have a quite harsh winter. So thank you again for joining me. And I'm sure once we get closer to the actual season, we'll talk again just about what current conditions and all that fun stuff. So thanks again for joining me. And I am happy that we do have some warmth left to hold on to before the winter. So thank you.
Yes, I'm looking forward to our next conversation, and enjoy the warm weather while it lasts.
Yes.
A CCR tribute band and a fall street festival are just two of the options for things to do this weekend. Heather Klages has more with this week's edition of What's Happening.
Another great season of live entertainment is lined up for you at the Vic Juba Community Theatre, and it gets underway tomorrow night with a fantastic tribute band that's going to take to the stage. Green River Revival, they are Canada's premier tribute to CCR. They're going to be in Lloydminster for the first time, so don't miss out on your chance to see the biggest hits of Creedence Clearwater Revival performed live on stage. Don't miss out on this great show coming up tomorrow night at the Vic Juba Community Theatre. For all the details and to get your tickets, you can head online, vicjubatheatre.ca. Coming up tomorrow, you and your family can have a fun day out at the Marsden Fall Street Festival. Activities run from 11 a.m. until 5 p.m. and they've got lots of fun lined up for the kids. There's going to be bouncy houses there. They'll have a chance to get their face painted and more. Manitou Fire and Rescue, they're running a dunk tank. There's going to be a classic and custom car show, plus lots of live entertainment. The Prairie Dogs, Amanda Koopa, and so much more. For all the details, you can check out our website, newcountrylloydminster.ca. And coming up tomorrow night, rapper Chaos is going to be in Lloydminster. He'll be performing at Cheers Live, and he's a rapper, a singer, a songwriter, plus a Juno Award winner. He won the Juno Award for Rap Recording of the Year for his album, Joyful Rebellion. For all the details and to get your tickets, you can go online to showpass.com or get your tickets at Cheers Live in Lloydminster. Well, whatever you choose to do this weekend, we hope you stay safe and stay healthy.
What's Happening is brought to you by Northern Factory Workwear, Circle Drive East, Saskatoon, and Highway 17 South, Lloydminster.
We'll have more primetime local news after the break. Grace United Church in Lloydminster has many musical programs upcoming. Our Callan Dunlop finds out more.
Today I'm joined by Karen Fawcett with Grace United Church. Thank you so much for taking the time to join me today.
Thank you.
And we're here today to talk about some of the music programs that you guys have upcoming, and you guys have plenty, so I wanted to just jump right in and talk about the first one, which is the Kids Praise program. Can you talk to me a little bit more about that?
Sure. Kids Praise is our Littles choir. It's open to kids from grade 1 to 6. It's directed by Reverend Kathy Kinsman. And so the kids in that group, they're going to be working with instruments, they're going to be learning rhythms, they're going to be singing, and they are so fun to watch. They really are. They're part of our services from time to time. They also take part in our Christmas night of music. And so we just encourage anybody that, you know, you want your kids to get involved with music, and it's a free program, so come on down.
That sounds like a great thing for the kids to experience.
It is, yeah.
I also wanted to talk about Groovin' with Grace.
Yes.
That's an interesting sounding one. Can you talk to me a little bit more on that?
Sure. Groovin' with Grace is our intermediate choir, and so it's for kids ages 11 to 18. The music we've done right now, or have done in the past, is more of the contemporary stuff. We've done music from, The Greatest Showman. We've done some work. Last year we did the Pink Panther theme, which was really fun. We do music for Easter. We do music for Christmas. I like to do music that has a good message to it and that we can use any time of the year. And so we've performed quite a few other places last year, which was really fun as well.
Oh, that's fun.
Mm-hmm.
Where did you perform?
Festival of Trees had us as entertainment. And then the Grace United Church also had a winter supper that we were part of the entertainment for as well. So
I also wanted to talk to you about the celebration ringers and a little bit about the handbells as an entirety. I did handbells growing up.
Did you?
Okay. Back in grade 6, so I'm very far removed from it. But
you still could read music and you still could play handbells.
Maybe a little off on the reading the music part, but I did like performing though.
Okay.
So can you talk to me a bit about what you got going on there?
Sure. The Grace Celebration Ringers they meet every Monday, and we'll start September 30th, I do believe. And so they're beautiful when they ring. Of course, if you've done it before, you know. And they're an integral part of our worship service as well. Everybody always loves it when the bells come. But they're directed by Brenda Ellison, and she actually is having a beginner course if anybody's interested in learning how to ring bells. Or perhaps you want to brush up on your skills. You could do that too. And that starts Monday, September 30th as well.
Well, that's fast approaching, so that is good to hear. There's just even more and more that I am finding out. There is the ukulele group that you guys also have.
Right.
Can you talk to me about that?
Oh, I certainly can. They are led by Daryl Howell. He calls himself D-Ho, which is very nice. And they meet Tuesdays from 5:30 to 6:30. And anybody is welcome to join any of these groups, right? For the ukuleles, they actually play a lot in the community. They do a lot of the work do a lot of their playing at the seniors' homes, any events around town. They've been asked to play at a lot of those things too. Our lunch at the senior lunches at the church, they've been asked to be entertainment for those things. So they're pretty active, and they're always looking for new members. So if you have access to a ukulele and you have a little bit of interest, you may want to come on down to the church Tuesdays at 5:30.
Well, that sounds very interesting for those who are able to play a ukulele. I know I tried a lot when I was a bit younger, and I just could never get the hang of it, but by all means, for those who are interested, that would be great for them. There's also the Pickups Worship Band, and can you talk to me a little bit about that whole band?
Sure. The Pickups, we would like to start them up this fall if we can. And anybody that plays an instrument, whether it be, wind instrument, we have banjo from time to time, we have clarinet, anything that anybody wants to come along. They don't have a regular practice. They meet before the service on Sunday. They go through the hymns, and if anybody wants to sing along with them, you're more than welcome to do that too. So they're kind of like an ad hoc performance, but it's really fun, and they play along with the hymns in church. But anybody that, you just want to get out and play your instrument and want to come out Sunday morning, that's the group for you. There you go.
Well, it sounds like there's a lot of variety for a lot of different people for what they want to do regarding music. So,
right.
And that is all the questions that I had today.
Well,
regarding
I'm gonna tell you about one more though.
Well, then go for it. Yeah.
Okay, so our senior choir for the Grace Choir, we meet Thursdays, and if anyone wants to come and join us for Christmas music, it's an integral part of our worship service. Of course, we like to sing every Sunday, but it's open to anyone as well, adults that would like to come and sing. We will be doing Christmas cantata again this year, and that will be open to the public. There'll be more information coming on that a little bit later, but so we're always looking for new members and people that just want to sing, just want to have a good time. Thursdays, 7 to 8:30, we'll meet at the church.
All right, perfect. That should cover everything then.
Yes.
And that is all that I needed from you today. So thank you so much for taking the time to talk about all the great programs you have.
Thank you.
That's all for news. Sports is next, but first, here's a look at your closing market.
Today's oil prices are brought to you by First General Services.
The Lloydminster Bobcats Evening of Champions is one of their major fundraisers of the year, as well as one of the final events before the AJHL regular season. Our Thomas Wildman has more.
But before we start, I said Hartsey was a dick to play against, not a dick.
To serve as the main entertainment of the evening, the Lloydminster Bobcats invited out hockey legends Scott Hartnell, Craig McTavish, and Bruce Boudreau, with longtime sports broadcaster Arash Madani being the host of the Hot Stove Lounge. And it was the first time out to the border city for some of the guests.
It's been terrific. I experienced something I've never experienced before in my life. I had 1 foot in Saskatchewan today and 1 foot in Alberta, and that was something I was looking forward to, just, a piece of Canadiana.
We went and saw like a museum of, I don't know if you guys have ever seen tractors and cars at one of the gentlemen's houses, 3 barns, and I just thought it was amazing. But it's everybody's been very, very receptive, and there's nothing like small town Canada to create a hockey environment, so I think it's been pretty special.
For local talent Scott Hartnell, it's a return to home and to help support a program that he was a part of in his youth, as well as support the Rustlers women's hockey team.
Being a former alumni, Blazers, not Bobcats, but I was a huge fan when I was a kid. You see the young kids here that are fighting for spots here for the Bobcats. It's met all of them, shook their hands, wish them the best of luck, and just brings back some great memories. It's huge to see these girls' faces and them battling it out, and how hard they're working. It's always good to come back here, like I said, and couldn't be happy for the girls and for the guys.
All of the guests were happy to be of help to the Bobcats and Rustlers, and were also very happy to be working together instead of being competitors like they were throughout the 2000s.
Saying to Bruce when I met him that you know, as long as we've both been in the business, I've never really spoken much to Bruce or him to me over the years. I mean, we coached against each other a fair bit when I was with Edmonton, but Scott Hartnell, I was talking to him too. He's from Lloydminster, and we tried to, when I was with the Oilers, I was telling Scott we were trying to get him, but you know, fantastic teammate. You know, you're really solid reputation on both these men.
The Bobcats also announced their roster for the upcoming season and had both a silent auction and live auction to raise some more funds for the teams.
The Bobcats will have a few more preseason games, and then they will be ready for their home opener. Thomas Wildman, Primetime, local news.
Also at the Evening of Champions, some former NHL players and coaches were in attendance. Jackson Fontaine got a chance to talk to some of the guests about the Leon Draisaitl and the Oilers' recent cup run.
Many people piled into the Lloydminster Expo to celebrate the Bobcats Evening of Champions event. Some special guests were invited to attend, like sports reporter Arash Madani and former NHL player Scott Hartnell. The event brought many people together in the community of Lloydminster to support the Bobcats.
People may keep their eyes on the big logos and the leagues and the teams, but when you think about what Canada is mainly a rural place with a few urban centers. And when you get an opportunity to see and be reminded of just how important local teams are to communities, it's just been awesome.
With many hockey fans in the building, the big talk was the Leon Draisaitl signing. The Oilers forward signed an 8-year, $112 million contract on Tuesday and will be a big part of the organization for years to come.
Yeah, Draisaitl signing for another 8 years. He's a special player, right? He's got the shot. He's got one of the best passers in the game almost ever, other than Wayne Gretzky probably, feeding him that puck. So those players don't come around very often. So to get that contract locked up for, I think, one more year plus the 8 is absolutely huge for the Oilers.
Well, you know, he's been such an incredible player for the Oilers for so many years.
It says an awful lot for what Edmonton has done and what Leon wants, because he could have gone to any team in the National Hockey League and gotten at least as much money as he's getting from Edmonton, but he chose to stay in Edmonton.
The Oilers are coming off a season where they fell one game short of winning the Stanley Cup. It was the first time the team had made the Cup final since 2006, and there were some similarities between that year and this year.
The most prevailing parallel was the Game 7 loss. And if you remember, in 2006, we got down 3-1, won Game 5, went back to Game 6 in Edmonton, as this year's Oilers did, and we killed them in Game 6, much like this year's Oilers did. And then in Game 7, the games were very similar.
The Bobcats season will begin on September 13th, while the Edmonton Oilers will kick off their season on October 9th. Jackson Fontaine, Primetime, local news.
Now let's take a look at your pets of the day.
We want to see your pets. Send photos of your pet and their name to have them featured on Pet of the Day.